Lord, give me the strength to rise above the hurt that others cause me. Teach me to hold my peace even when my heart is heavy. Help me see my worth through your eyes, not through the actions of those who tried to break me. May my silence be strength. When someone hurts you, it can feel like the air has been knocked out of your chest. Your first instinct might be to cry, to scream, to demand answers, or even to fight back. But what if the most powerful response is none of those? What if the real way to regain your power is to hold yourself with such calm, such dignity, that the one who hurt you cannot make sense of it? It's the beauty of choosing to detach from immediate reaction. When you refuse to feed into the chaos, you instantly change the dynamic. People expect anger, they expect arguments, expect you to lose control. But when you rise above and remain steady, you confuse them. You show that their actions are not enough to shatter your spirit. This doesn't mean you ignore what happened. It means you protect yourself from becoming consumed by it. Detachment is not coldness, it is wisdom. It's the recognition that your energy is too precious to be wasted on someone who wanted to break you. Reclaiming emotional control is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. The moment you take back control of your responses, you step out of being a victim and step into being a victor. When you no longer let the one who hurt you dictate how you feel or behave, you reclaim your freedom. Confusion comes because they thought they had you figured out. They thought they knew how you would respond. But instead, you rise above it. Choosing peace over pain is not weakness, it is power. Imagine how unsettling it is for someone to expect your tears and instead see your smile. To expect your pleading and instead see your silence is not about faking strength. It is about finding true strength within yourself and allowing that strength to lead. Boundaries are another part of this strength. Too often, people get caught in endless cycles of explaining themselves or arguing to be understood. But when someone hurts you, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is set a firm boundary without debate. You don't have to justify your worth to anyone. You don't have to convince someone to treat you better. When you walk in dignity, when you stand tall and clearly say what you will and will not accept, you take back the power that was stolen. Boundaries do not push people away. They protect your heart and your peace. They remind you and everyone around you that you are valuable and deserve respect. Redirecting your energy is how you transform hurt into growth. Instead of chasing after the one who hurt you or wasting nights trying to make sense of their actions, you put that energy into building yourself. Read, learn, heal, pray, and pursue your goals. Every time you invest in your growth instead of your pain, you confuse the one who thought they had control over you. When they see you thriving, leveling up, and becoming stronger, confusion is real. Because the story they wrote for you was one of weakness and defeat, but the story you're writing for yourself is one of resilience and elevation. Silence is a language of its own. Sometimes the strongest answer is no answer at all. When you withdraw your words and your energy, you leave space for the other person to face their own actions. Your silence says, "You no longer have access to me." It leaves them with questions they cannot answer, and that is a kind of confusion that runs deep. Silence gives you room to heal without interference, and it creates distance between you and the pain. At the end of it all, walking in purpose is the most powerful response. Pain tries to pull you backward, but purpose pushes you forward. The real confusion comes when the one who hurt you sees that you are not only surviving, but thriving. Thought their actions could derail your journey, but instead you use the pain as fuel. That is strength. That is victory. You don't win by reacting. You win by refusing to be moved from your destiny. When you choose peace, boundaries, growth, and silence, you confuse the one who hurt you and remind yourself that you were never powerless. You were always stronger than they imagined. Reclaiming emotional control is about shifting the balance of power back into your hands. When someone hurts you, they often expect that you will react in a way that feeds their sense of control. Expect you to lash out, to cry endlessly, or to fall apart in ways that validate their actions. But the moment you decide that your emotions are not up for manipulation, you step into a place of strength. Emotional control does not mean that you do not feel the pain. It means you refuse to let the pain master you. There is a difference between acknowledging your emotions privately and displaying them in a way that gives power to the one who caused them. When you hold on to your center and maintain your composure, you confuse the one who thought they had the ability to dictate how your life would unfold after their betrayal. essence of reclaiming emotional control is learning how to respond rather than react. Reaction is impulsive, and it usually comes from a place of wounded pride or raw pain. Response, on the other hand, is intentional. It reflects wisdom, self-awareness, and strength. When you choose how you respond, you are no longer a puppet of the situation. You are the director of your story. For example, when a man expects you to chase him after he disrespects you, but instead you walk away with dignity, he is left wondering what happened. He becomes unsettled because your peace was not part of his plan. That confusion is not about playing games. It is about showing him, and more importantly yourself, that you are not bound by his actions. Taking back emotional control also involves refusing to internalize someone else's brokenness. Many times, people project their pain, their insecurities, their immaturity onto those closest to them. If you accept their mistreatment as a reflection of your value, you will fall into the trap of trying to prove yourself to someone who was never ready to honor you. The moment you understand that their actions speak about who they are, not who you are, you gain freedom. You stop carrying the weight of their mistakes. You stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" And instead affirm, "Nothing is wrong with me. I am simply too valuable to be mishandled." This perspective keeps you rooted in self-worth even when others attempt to shake it. It is also a psychological power in not being predictable. When people think they know exactly how you will respond, they take you for granted. But when you rise above the script they imagined for you, you introduce a level of mystery and strength that they cannot easily dismiss. If they expect anger and you give calm, if they expect tears and you give a smile, if they expect desperation and you give silence, you completely shift the narrative. This does not mean you are pretending to be okay when you are not. It means you are prioritizing healing over performance. You do your crying, you're praying, you're processing in spaces that nurture you, not in front of the person who tried to break you. Reclaiming emotional control is not about them. It's about you. It's about protecting your heart, preserving your peace, and positioning yourself for greater things. When you refuse to let someone else's choices dominate your emotions, you stand in authority over your own life. You send a clear message. You do not get to decide how I live, how I feel, or who I become. That message is not just for them. It's also for you, because every time you walk in it, you reinforce your own strength. Ultimately, emotional control is the foundation of your healing and your growth. It's what allows you to rise above the hurt without denying that it happened. It's what helps you process your emotions without letting them consume you. And it's what keeps you moving forward when others thought you would stay stuck. Confusion is simply a byproduct. Real reward is freedom. Freedom to feel without being enslaved, freedom to love yourself deeply, and freedom to walk in purpose no matter who tried to hold you back. Boundaries are one of the most powerful tools you can establish after someone has hurt you, because they are not just rules for others. They are commitments to yourself. Too often, people believe boundaries are about controlling someone else's behavior, but the truth is boundaries are about defining how you will allow yourself to be treated. When someone crosses the line and causes you pain, you can either stay silent and tolerate it, or you can take a stand and protect your peace. Boundaries are not about punishment, are about preservation. They preserve your dignity, your self-worth, and your emotional well-being. By setting clear limits, you send a strong message to both yourself and others that you are valuable and deserving of respect. When you don't have boundaries, people assume they can treat you however they want. You will always be there. This creates a cycle where your kindness gets mistaken for weakness and your forgiveness gets exploited. But when you draw a line and say, "This is not acceptable," you confuse the one who thought they could continue taking advantage of you. They begin to realize that you are not someone who can be easily manipulated or controlled. You don't have to argue or explain yourself endlessly. A boundary is not a debate. It is a declaration. You decide what you will tolerate and you enforce it with consistency. That is strength. That strength creates a level of confusion in those who thought you would remain silent. Boundaries also protect you from emotional exhaustion. Without them, you spend your energy trying to manage other people's actions, feelings, or validation. With boundaries, you redirect that energy back to yourself, your healing, your growth, your goals. For example, instead of staying up at night replaying every hurtful word, a boundary allows you to say, "I will not engage with conversations or situations that drain me." Instead of responding to every call or message from someone who mistreats you, a boundary gives you permission to step back and protect your peace. This is not coldness, it is self-respect. It shows that you are willing to walk away from anything that diminishes your value, even if it costs you relationships. Boundaries create clarity. They help you separate who is genuinely there to love and support you from who is there to use and abuse you. When you enforce a boundary, the reaction you get tells you everything you need to know. Someone who truly values you will respect your limits, even if it challenges them. Someone who only wanted control over you will become angry or defensive. That reaction itself is confirmation that the boundary was necessary. And in that moment, you gain clarity about who belongs in your life and who does not. That is a powerful form of confusion. You disrupt their expectation that you will bend, and instead you stand tall. There is also a spiritual aspect to boundaries. Protecting yourself is not selfish, it is stewardship. You have been entrusted with a heart, a mind, and a soul that carry purpose. Allowing constant disrespect or mistreatment into your life keeps you from walking fully in that purpose. Boundaries honor the divine truth that you were never meant to live in cycles of pain and chaos. You were created for peace, love, and joy. And every time you enforce a boundary, you align yourself with that higher calling. Ultimately, boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are doors that allow the right people in. They create space for healthy relationships where love is mutual and respect is automatic. And they remind you every single day that you are not powerless. You are not at the mercy of someone else's behavior. You are the guardian of your own life, and you decide what belongs and what does not. When a man hurts you and expects you to accept it, nothing confuses him more than your quiet, firm refusal to tolerate it again. That strength is not just for him to see. It is for you to live. It is the evidence that you have taken your power back. Redirecting your energy after being hurt is one of the most transformative choices you can make. Hurt has a way of consuming your mind, replaying the same scene over and over again, leaving you stuck in a loop of pain. The more you dwell on it, the more power you give to the one who caused it. But when you make the decision to redirect that energy, you shift the focus away from what was done to you and place it on what can now be done for you. You stop feeding the fire of pain and instead ignite the flame of growth. Redirecting energy is not about ignoring the wound. It is about using the pain as fuel to build something greater. The reality is that energy is limited. Every ounce of strength you spend on resentment, revenge, or regret is energy that could have gone into your healing, your dreams, and your purpose. Confusion comes when the person who hurt you expects you to stay broken, yet instead of collapsing, you rise. Instead of chasing them or fighting for their attention, you are busy chasing your goals, your healing, and your peace. They thought they had the power to keep you small, but you transformed that same pain into motivation to become bigger, wiser, and stronger. Redirecting your energy begins with self-care. Not the surface level kind, but deep, intentional care for your body, mind, and spirit. This means resting when you need rest, feeding yourself with positive words, and surrounding yourself with people who bring out the best in you. It means pouring into yourself through prayer, meditation, reading, or whatever nourishes your soul. When you invest in self-care, you are reclaiming the pieces of yourself that pain tried to scatter. You are saying to yourself, I matter too much to let this break me. Another way to redirect energy is through growth and learning. Instead of spending nights overthinking why someone hurt you, take that time to learn a new skill, work on a project, or move closer to a personal goal. Growth shifts the story from I was broken to I am building. It changes your identity from victim to victor. And the more you grow, the more you realize that the pain was never the end of your story. It was the push you needed to rise to your next level. Nothing confuses someone more than seeing you succeed in areas they thought you'd be too distracted or damaged to pursue. Redirecting energy also means choosing joy intentionally. Happiness may not come automatically after hurt, but joy is something you can cultivate through gratitude. Start counting what you still have instead of what you lost. Celebrate the blessings that remain. When you shift your perspective from lack to abundance, you begin to see life through a new lens. That kind of joy is contagious. It becomes a shield that no hurt can fully penetrate. The one who tried to dim your light will be left wondering how you are still shining so brightly. Most importantly, redirecting energy is about purpose. pain tries to pull you into bitterness, pulls you into greatness. The truth is, your story doesn't end with heartbreak or betrayal. Those moments are chapters, not conclusions. When you align yourself with your purpose, you transform pain into power and obstacles into opportunities. You realize that what was meant to break you has actually built you into someone stronger. At the end of the day, redirecting energy is not about proving a point to the one who hurt you. It's about proving something to yourself. It's about looking in the mirror and saying, I will not let this define me. I will use this to refine me. That is the ultimate form of taking back your power, because while they are stuck wondering why you didn't fall apart, you are busy building a life so full of peace, growth, and joy that their actions become irrelevant. That is true confusion for them and complete freedom for you. Silence is often misunderstood. Many people think silence means weakness, avoidance, or defeat. But in truth, silence can be one of the strongest responses you will ever give. When someone hurts you, their instinct is to provoke a reaction. They may want to see you angry, broken, or begging for answers. But when you choose silence instead of feeding into their expectation, you take control of the narrative. Your silence says, I refuse to give you the satisfaction of seeing me destroyed. It is not about ignoring your pain. It is about guarding your dignity. Silence is not the absence of power. It is the presence of discipline. There is a reason silence confuses people who hurt you. They expect conflict. They expect long arguments. They expect you to fight to be heard. When you withdraw your voice, you remove their stage. Without your participation, their drama collapses. This is why silence can be more powerful than shouting. Shouting gives them attention. Silence takes it away. Silence forces them to sit with their own actions, to replay their own words, to wonder what is going on in your mind. That wondering, that questioning is the confusion. They thought they could predict your reaction, but instead, you gave them nothing to hold on to. Silence is not denial of your feelings. You still feel, you still hurt, you still process, but you do it in spaces where you are safe, supported, and respected. You take your pain to God, to prayer, to journaling, or to trusted people who truly care for your healing. You refuse to perform your wounds for the entertainment or validation of the one who caused them. This discipline protects you from deepening the hurt and gives you room to heal. It also reminds you that you are not obligated to explain your worth to anyone who failed to see it. Another aspect of silence is peace. Words can sometimes escalate situations. Silence de-escalates. When you remain quiet, you protect yourself from saying things you may later regret, and you protect your energy from being drained in arguments that go nowhere. Silence gives you the chance to step back, breathe, and gain clarity. It keeps you from being reactive and allows you to respond later, if necessary, with wisdom and composure. Silence is a tool that separates you from chaos and gives you space to rise above it. Silence also commands respect. Think of the times when someone falls silent in a conversation. The room often grows tense because people notice. Silence draws attention not because you are weak, because you are withholding what others thought they were entitled to: your voice, your reaction, your presence. In relationships, when someone hurts you and expects you to fight for them, your silence communicates that you will not compete for a place you deserve freely. It says you are not afraid to step back if your peace is threatened. Kind of silence is not emptiness, it is authority. Spiritually, silence creates a space for divine healing. When you quiet yourself, you allow room for God's voice to replace the noise of your pain. You stop filling the silence with endless arguments and instead allow peace to flow into your heart. Silence becomes a sacred space where you hear truth more clearly, that you are still worthy, still loved, and still chosen, that you are not defined by who hurt you, but by who created you. Ultimately, silence is not about proving anything to the one who hurt you. It is about protecting yourself, preserving your dignity, and prioritizing your healing. It is about confusing them by not giving them what they expect while giving yourself exactly what you need: peace, clarity, and restoration. So when a man hurts you and waits for the explosion, choose silence instead. Let him wonder, let him question, because your silence will echo louder than any words ever could. It will remind you that your power has never been in what you say. It has always been in who you are. Walking in purpose after being hurt is one of the most powerful responses you can ever give. Pain tries to convince you that your life has been derailed, that your joy has been stolen, and that your story has been rewritten by betrayal or disappointment. But the truth is No amount of hurt can cancel out the purpose planted inside of you. When you walk in purpose, you prove that what was meant to break you has only built you. You prove that their actions could not stop your destiny. The greatest confusion you can create for someone who thought they had the power to destroy you is to keep thriving, smiling, moving forward. Walking in purpose means making a choice, the choice to let pain refine you, not define you. Many people allow their hurt to become their identity and live in cycles of bitterness, replaying the same stories, staying stuck in the same wounds. But purpose demands that you rise above the pain and use it as fuel for your growth. When you focus on your calling, your dreams, and the bigger picture of your life, you no longer give the one who hurt you the authority to dictate your future. You take back ownership of your journey. One of the most powerful aspects of purpose is direction. Hurt can leave you wandering, confused, or paralyzed by what happened. But when you anchor yourself in purpose, you regain clarity. You start asking bigger questions. What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? How can I use this experience to help others? These questions shift your mindset from victimhood to victory. Instead of asking why you were hurt, you start seeing how even this hurt can be transformed into something meaningful. That shift not only strengthens you, but also leaves the person who hurt you baffled because they expected you to crumble, not to rise. Purpose also changes how you carry yourself. When you live with intention, you radiate confidence, peace, and resilience. People can see it in your walk, your words, and your energy. It is undeniable. The same person who once underestimated you now has to witness your glow. Glow is not artificial. It is the light of someone who refused to be broken. It is the reflection of someone who understood that her worth was never tied to how others treated her. Walking in purpose makes you unshakable because your foundation is no longer people's opinions, but your own calling and your faith. Another part of walking in purpose is impact. Your healing is not just for you. It inspires others. When you rise after being hurt, you show others that they can rise too. Your story becomes a testimony of strength. Your journey becomes a guide for those still in pain. That impact multiplies your power because it means that what was meant to destroy you is now being used to uplift others. Nothing confuses someone more than watching the very pain they caused you turn into a source of inspiration and empowerment for others. Spiritually, walking in purpose is the ultimate declaration of trust. It means you believe that no weapon formed against you will prosper. It means you know that your life is in greater hands than those who tried to harm you. It means you understand that every setback is also a setup for a comeback. This spiritual confidence keeps you steady when storms come because you know your steps are ordered and your destiny cannot be canceled. At the end of the day, walking in purpose is not about them. It is about you. It is about proving to yourself that you are stronger than the pain, wiser than the betrayal, and greater than the disappointment. It is about living fully, freely, and intentionally, no matter who tried to hold you back. The confusion for them is simply a side effect. True victory is the freedom and fulfillment you gain when you walk boldly in your God-given purpose, unshaken, unstoppable, and undeniably powerful.